We open on a meteor flying through space. These mysterious streaks fly off it and begin hurtling towards Bomber Planet. Bomberman is hanging out in the trees? Where is he, actually? The streaks break apart the 5 spirit pictures, which causes the entire world to... Oh yeah, the world just ended. Welcome to Mega Bomberman for the Sega Genesis. I've always loved the Bomberman series, and this was my first and honestly still my favorite game from it. Although it's also one that I find is somewhat overlooked. Whenever people talk about Bomberman games from this era, and let me tell you, there are a lot of Bomberman games from this era, they're typically talking about the Super series, especially with that collection that came out too. But I don't know, Mega holds a special place in my heart, and I want to gush about it today. It's a game that's aged perfectly, I feel. The gameplay is nuanced, unique, and fun. The character and enemy design is memorable and clearly influenced me. The sprite work is charming, the music is great, the difficulty is perfect. Yeah, let's start. So how this game works is you have 5 areas, all of which are the 5 portions of the planet split apart, Sonic Unleashed style. That comparison might be even more tact, as you literally go to a shrine to rekindle the world here as well. This here, in the center of the room, is the spirit picture, though it's currently missing. And restoring them is how we fix things. Every area is split into 4 levels, all of a quarter of the picture to retrieve at the end, with the exception of the first world that has 3 instead. Starting Area 1-1, we're introduced to Bomberman's core gameplay. Bomberman works quite a bit differently from most games, I find. It's partway arcadey, it's partway puzzly, it's partway strategy, but here's the gist. It's top-down, and every level has this grid-like pattern. These blocks cannot be destroyed or removed, so this here is your play area. The blocks along where you can walk are destroyable. From here on, I'm going to refer to these as soft blocks. They look different in every world, but they all function the same. You destroy these blocks, and the enemies each level is populated with your bombs. And Bomberman's bombs are a very unique weapon by video game standards. It's not a melee weapon, it's not a projectile, instead you hit your quote-unquote attack button, and the bomb is placed underneath where you are standing. A short duration goes by, and it explodes in a cross pattern. And this blast is actually what damages stuff. Instantly how this is unique is that it adds a lot of strategy to moment-to-moment gameplay. You see an enemy in a normal game and it's like boom, 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 now it's dead. With Bomberman, you need to play around the enemy, its location, its movement pattern, to orchestrate a way to get it in the way of that blast. Typically by either trapping it or timing a bomb so it'll blow up when the enemy walks perpendicular to it. Also unique is that these bombs can destroy you as well, get in the way of your own blast, and that's the same as any other death in this game. It adds a lot of risk-reward to your weapons, like say, in the power-ups. You can keep collecting stuff to make your bombs stronger and stronger, but that also makes them more dangerous to work with as well. It's pretty balanced and encourages the player to not go overboard in a way I don't see with a lot of games. Back to the level itself. World 1, as you'd expect, pairs a pretty simple layout with easy enemies to ease the player into the difficulty. You have enemies that move very slowly, like these robots, some enemies that don't move at all and don't even have contact damage, like these darker flowers. Are these enemies, when you blow them up, they make shocked faces and give you points like an enemy would? I don't know, I always found these kind of odd. And you also have these bunnies that literally stand in place and start shadowboxing stuff they see, including your own bombs. So if you line it up just right, they'll literally just stand in place of the blast, so that's convenient. The enemies in this game have a lot of personality like this. Nearly every one of them either has a memorable gimmick or a fun design you'll never forget. The manual states they're all a combination of the villains as robots and brainwashed animals, so you get a fun variety of mechanical and animalistic designs in here. The goal of any given screen is to destroy these blue nodes. The game will place up to 4 per level, and you even get a counter up here to see how many you're at. Honestly, I never paid too much attention to this counter, as I normally bomb everything in a level I see anyway by the end. Once they're all destroyed, this big machine shatters, and you can collect the piece of the spirit picture it was holding. And that's how levels work. The second stage of World 1 introduces our first wide map, which isn't a big deal. I mean, hey, the first real Bomberman game was entirely wide maps, though there are others where arenas have mostly been square, so that's neat. There are even, like, mostly vertical maps in the game, too. You get a lot of variety in Mega Bomberman. We also get oddly shaped rocks and 2 new enemies. Snails, which move even slower than the robots, and these wheel, mouse, lip, sad things? I have never understood what these are. They're the fastest enemy we're going to see for a bit, so be careful when you're in a position where they can potentially reach you. The bridge here is also notable. I have no clue why this is even consistent in other Bomberman games, but blasts can't travel over bridges and some stairs as well. It's a weird oddity for sure, but this can be used to your advantage. Whenever you finish a stage, if there are any soft blocks remaining, they will be converted into coins, and you will have 15 seconds to grab as many as you can. They're worth 15 points each, and while points aren't a huge deal in this game, getting 20,000 does net you a 1-up, which is definitely helpful if you're playing vanilla. This here is another good consequence of that item risk reward I mentioned earlier. Bombing soft blocks is how you get your power-ups, but which ones they're in are random. But if you're feeling good and feel like you don't need much more power, and you don't feel like destroying everything, you could just say screw it to the remaining bonuses and convert them into points instead. Stage 3 introduces us to our first level with multiple screens. Bombing the nodes doesn't give you the spirit picture shard, but instead opens a door that leads you to the next area that does have it. It's just a way they have to have some levels be double the length, I guess. This is also the first stage with a special power-up. In the first screen, you will find this, the Fireproof Vest. It makes you invincible to your own bomb blast for a short duration of time. Honestly, the vest isn't in many stages, but if you find one, it's basically a free win. Once we collect the final spirit picture, this happens. Every world is bookended with a boss that is themed around the world. Most of these are actually pretty challenging, if I'm to be honest, though this first one has a trick to him that makes him practically a joke. You might be tempted to fight the giant robot banana while he actively chases you, but the monkey operating him is a much easier target. He doesn't move unless you get too close to him, his only attack is a slow-moving lightning projectile, and he takes half the blast to go down as well. Heck, if you do defeat the banana first, you actually have to defeat the monkey afterwards anyway, so yeah, just go after the monkey. The bosses in this game have really funny death animations too. Like, again, there's so much charm to these sprites, I love them. Fun fact, but the bosses in this game have names as well. I don't know where they come from, they're never stated in the game, and they're not even mentioned in the manual either. I don't know. But anyway, this is Saru and Bananature. With them defeated, the first world slides into place, which functionally doesn't do anything when you think about it. The world is still in 5 pieces, but yep, that's the end of World 1. So between worlds, I'd like to take a detour to talk about a random topic or mechanic. And here, I'd like to take a moment to discuss these little guys right here. These kangaroo rabbit creatures are known as the Louies. They're one of the most prominent side characters in Bomberman, and this was actually the first game they ever appeared in as well. I'll explain that asterisk later. It's pretty clear what the developers were going for with these when you realize that this game released a few years after Super Mario World. See any similarities? Yeah, the Louies are obviously a bit derivative of the Yoshis, but in a good kind of way, both in terms of function and how they're used in the series. There's a main green one that's called the thing it is, like a Pokemon, but then it's also like the name of the species too. They come in eggs and act as a steed for the protagonist. While written, they also work as sort of a power-up. They're an extra hit, You lose them if you take damage instead of dying yourself, and they also have a bonus ability depending on their color. There are 5 colors in this game, and here's what they do. The green one gives you a dash. You zoom incredibly quickly and don't stop until you hit something. This one is my favorite, actually. It's super fun to use, and like a lot of the stuff in this game, there's some creative risk-reward to how it works. The purple one can jump over 1 tile. It's useful for getting yourself out of a bind and for exploring levels without destroying anything if that need arises for some reason. The blue one can kick bombs. You punt a bomb 2 spaces ahead, which doesn't sound like much until you realize that this can also kick bombs over soft blocks, hard blocks, and even the bounds of the stage itself. If you kick a bomb out of bounds, it will continue to travel and even pop out of the other side if it goes off screen. And there's something really satisfying about destroying an enemy this way. This one is easily my second favorite, and it's a pretty close second too. Blue Louie is surprisingly strategic. Yellow Louie can kick soft blocks. Honestly, this might be my least favorite one. There's just not much of a reason to shove blocks around when they could be destroyed outright. If you were to be trapped by something, the kick is just slow enough that this likely wouldn't get you out of trouble, and that's if the block layout would even allow for that in the first place. Maybe a more creative player can find a super unique use for this, but I've never been able to. And finally is the pink Louie, who does the Louie dance. This is essentially a taunt. There's no functional use to it, yet I'm also never angry when I get it. Pink Louie has a lot of personality, and I absolutely love him. I'd be remiss to mention that Louies are a bit of an elephant in the room for me personally. Okay, so I am a furry, and the animal I picked for my fursona to represent myself was, in fact, a Bomberman Louie. That's what this character is. World 2 is Vexen Volcano. I gotta say, it feels very uncommon for a volcano level to be early game, but we're here for it. This time, the spirit picture appears to be some kind of phoenix, and we have 4 stages now. Our first stage is, again, a single square, just to ease the player into what to expect here. Every new world introduces a host of new enemies as well. We have these trotting birds, which are about as fast as those lip mouse things from the first world. We have these boulder monsters with a peculiar gimmick. Sometimes they'll just fall asleep. Easy to take them out from there. God, again, I love the personality all these monsters have in this game. They could have, and honestly probably should have, just made this a basic enemy that walks around and does nothing else, but they chose to do something silly instead. It's memorable. I like it. The final enemy are these rolling tank things. They have a gimmick where sometimes they will stop in their tracks and spew out a stream of fire. This fire has almost the same properties as your bombs, given that they can kill you and set off chain reactions. Double this with the fact that they can fire through walls as well, and they're instantly something you need to be a bit careful of. It's easy for them to catch you off guard. The only way these flames differ from yours is that they can't kill enemies, so no friendly fire here. This stage also has this skate power-up, which makes you slightly, and I mean slightly, faster. They're one of the rarest items in the game, and I honestly don't know why. Stage 2 starts with this vertical map and immediate access to a new mechanic: minecarts. These are pretty broken. If you hop on one, they'll zoom along the track at high speed, destroying both soft blocks and enemies you run into. You are completely invincible while in here, so they're great for jumping in when you're getting overwhelmed. We have 2 new enemies here too. This wheel monster is definitely one of those like impaled heads on a wheel. I think it's like a yokai. The other enemy might be the most tragic enemy in the game. Here, check this out. So, it walks slowly until it sees a bomb, at which point it will run full speed directly at it, continue to rub against it until it blows up, and then it smiles in its death animation. What? A funny quirk to them is that they'll even try to run at a bomb when they physically can. Yeah, I don't know what the deal with these things are. Part 2 of this level is a pretty confined space with another new mechanic. This volcano here is periodically spewing molten rocks that fall into the stage. Somehow these don't kill you, but they can destroy enemies in soft blocks. They can also prematurely set off your own bombs too. It's rare to see, but another thing to keep in mind. You know, I'm noticing a theme of this world in that sometimes your bombs might have weird timings on occasion due to factors outside of your control. Once you place a bomb, it kinda just sits there. What happens to it, and it's a risk you have to consider while using them. Stage 3 features a wide screen with a very long minecart rail you can ride. If I could be honest, I find this screen a little annoying. It's pretty cramped as a result of how much space the track takes up, and it's pretty annoying to backtrack if you have to. On a side note, the sprite for when you are riding with a Louie is very cute. Oh yeah, this stage also features 2 special power-ups, Bomb Kick and Time Freeze. Bomb Kick can actually be found in the first world as well, but I forgot to talk about it, whoops. As far as I'm concerned, it's a core Bomberman ability. It allows you to punt a bombs forward, at which point it'll slide until it hits a wall. Hitting a button in some games also stop it, but it's such a non sequitur secondary effect that I always forget about it. This effect is also not to be confused with Blue Louie, who kicks a bomb over stuff. Time Freeze halts all enemy and stage hazards for a duration of time. It's as useful as it sounds. And you know, this is only because they're so core to the Bomberman experience, but I actually forgot to talk about 2 more common abilities in the series in the last world. Bomb Up and Flame Up. By default, Bomberman can place 1 bomb at a time and it explodes 2 spaces outwards. Bomb Up allows you to place more bombs at once, 1 additional bomb for each one you collect. And Flame Up makes your flames spread out 1 tile further. Pretty self-explanatory. Stage 4 features another long cart track, though this one is a lot more open besides that mechanic. It's also the earliest you can see the most broken power-up in the game, but I forgot to grab it here, so we'll talk about it later. And its final screen has a jump you can do. How fun is that? After collecting the spirit picture for this world, we are introduced to Pyramid Ganji. It's spelled like this. Again, I don't know where they got these names from. This boss is quite a jump in difficulty in that it actually puts up a fight this time. It's actually the only world boss too with its own theme, which is kind of weird actually. Anyway, he'll often start with his most dangerous attack, where both of his hands rocket outwards and try to curve at you. These can be surprisingly hard to dodge. Their hitboxes feel a tad bit larger than you would assume at a glance, so it's easy to get sidelined by them. His second attack has him launching flames out of his head that will explode in their own cross patterns once they hit the ground. They act similarly to those volcano things, but they act a bit like your bombs too. Interesting. And then finally, he'll do several jumps in a row. Every time he lands on the ground during this, it freezes you in place for a second. I find this attack kind of interesting because, well, he never does 2 attacks at a time. What's the point of freezing you if there's nothing to hit you immediately afterwards? But then I thought a bit about it. This attack has him moving slower than his normal walking speed, so it's probably the easiest time to actually hit him, in which case his stuns can screw you over against your own bombs. That's kind of interesting actually, and more risk-reward right there. As you could alternatively just hang in the corner during this and not risk anything at all. Bomb him enough times and he goes down, and we restore the spirit picture. The second fragmented part of the world slides back into place, and we can begin the 3rd area. Before that, however, our next off-topic topic is the password system. While being able to save your game progress is taken pretty for granted these days, it used to be kind of an uncommon inclusion, actually. What a lot of 8-bit, 16-bit, and even 64-bit games, at least early on, would do instead, would periodically give you a string of anything, really, that'll let you continue where you left off in games that weren't designed to be beaten in one sitting. Every time you get a game over at Mega Bomberman, you're given a 4-number code, so you actively need to lose in order to see any of these, which I field does have some weird consequences. On the title screen, there's a third option here that lets you input your code, and okay, this screen is really silly to me. You have Bomberman working on his machine here while Louie stands on the side. He'll look at you sad when you put in an invalid code, and a correct one will make him happy while Bomberman blasts away. Look at that in-between frame, jeez. I do have one issue with this password system, though. The saves don't save your power-ups, just your level progress. Despite doing the permutation math, probably having more than enough combinations for them, what this means is that every time you load a save, you are starting from square one again in terms of power. You know, 1 bomb, 2 blast radius, which typically isn't the end of the world as each level has a handful of power-ups peppered everywhere anyway. Where this is a problem, however, is when you use a password to reload onto a boss. Some of these bosses get pretty tough in this game, and dare I suggest, some feel near impossible to do with a single bomb in a blast radius of 2. Because of this, as a kid, I would often get a game over on purpose on the level right before a boss, so if the big fight is too difficult for me, I can go back a stage to power myself up before the confrontation. This is probably a consequence the developers did not intend, but it's something that's always annoyed me. So anyway, World 3 is the Slamming Sea, and ready for a bit of a difficulty spike. Of these 5 worlds, I actually consider this one to be the hardest. I chalk it up to a combination of difficult enemies, as well as some generally pretty cramped map design. It has without a doubt the most difficult boss of the 5 worlds too, though we'll get to that later. Our starting level is a wide map, which is a first, and we have 4 enemies to start. These starfish run around quickly, they're pretty self-explanatory. These jellyfish move a bit slower, but to make up for it, they have an actual attack. Occasionally, they will stop and zap a 3x3 area around them, which can kill you. They do stay still while doing this, however, so it's an easy opportunity to ambush them. The final 2 enemies are also a first. This submarine and flipper mech are our first enemies that take 2 hits to take down. You bomb them once and they blink a bit. Bombing them again is what actually defeats them. Individually, they both have a gimmick as well. The flipper mech will sometimes stop and shoot a stream of bubbles. It functions identically to the tank mech's flames, it even has the same range, though these bubbles don't actually kill you. Instead, they push you and prevent you from approaching them. Definitely less dangerous, but still a little annoying. The submarines can occasionally dip below the ground and continue moving. They are completely immune to damage in this state, though they actually can't hurt you either, making for a unique challenge of trying to set up a bomb that will hit or trap them right as they surface from out of the ground. There's a lot going on already, and we only started the first level. The second stage introduces another 2 enemies. These crabs, which take 2 hits and just move fast, they're not special really. And then you have these giant fish. These guys can move over soft blocks. A pretty common enemy trope in Bomberman, actually. If anything, I'm kind of surprised it took them 3 worlds to introduce this. These things can be kind of a big deal if you're not careful about them. They can approach you from anywhere. There's just nowhere 100% safe on the map anymore as long as one of these is around. Thankfully, they do have that super slow movement speed, though. Definitely the obvious way to introduce a mechanic like this. This map also introduces my favorite power-up in the game, Line Bomb. By double tapping the bomb button, you lay down you place down a line of bombs in front of you. The amount you can place is exactly how many bombs you're able to place normally. So if you're the type to just keep collecting power-ups far beyond when you'll be able to need them, it's possible to place enough at a time to practically screen nuke the entire map. Immensely satisfying. Stage 3 introduces another new enemy, small clownfish, which can also move over soft blocks, but are much faster, though they only take 1 hit. Featured here is one of the game's few 1-up power-ups. It gives you a 1-up. Also, I love this shipwreck boat here. It's a great set piece. This game has a lot of great pixel art in the set pieces of that sort in general. Honestly, it's just a great looking Genesis game. I always loved how this game looked visually. Also, I'm not sure where to put this, but I love this detail here too, where bubble columns burst out of the cans when you break them. No other world has an effect like this. Stage 4 has no new enemies, but 2 new power-ups. First is the heart. These give you an extra hit, and if I can be honest, I always forget about them. There's no visual cue if Bomberman has one or not, and it's not like there are any strategies in the game that involve taking damage. I often just pick one up, forget about it, and then if it becomes relevant later, it's always in a, oh yeah, I had that kind of way. And secondly is Wall Pass. It allows you to pass over the soft blocks, and honestly, if you know these levels like the back of your hand, it's kind of broken. Being able to bob and weave between areas you can place bombs to destroy the entire map in one fell go. It's, again, really satisfying. Before we move on to the boss, I have one last topic about this world. The music. Mega Bomberman has a really good soundtrack in general, though this world has, without a doubt, the best song in the game. Water stage music in video games is often associated with being slower, more calming, soothing, a bit surreal at times even. Slamming C goes very much against that. It's upbeat, it has a great catchy melody, it stands out quite a bit in a fun way. If you look up remixes of songs from this game, you're most likely to find Slamming C ones. It's just a really enjoyable classic video game theme to me. And now, on to the boss. So this guy's name is Robs? Okay. I mentioned earlier that this is the hardest boss of the main 5. I don't even know where to start with this guy, honestly. I guess I could begin with the elephant that he's freaking huge. His whole sprite takes up a 4x5 space, and basically the whole thing is his hitbox. It is really easy for him to corner you or force you into a situation where you just have to be touched by him, including his first ability. This boss can disable your bombs. If you place a bomb to his side, he will notice it and zoom right towards it, grabbing it with a claw before fizzling it. And finally, he can shoot bubbles in a spread shot. These don't hurt you, but they can freeze you in place as well as encapsulate a bomb, which makes its blast radius 1, essentially useless. This boss's main strategy is to play the long game with you, disabling and freezing both you and your weapons until you're bound to be forced into him eventually. It's kind of diabolical, actually. And if that's not enough, this fight has a second phase too. You blast off his outer shell to reveal a skeleton, that's not how crabs work, at which point he moves faster, and his bubble shot now fires all around him. This is a truly intense fight that was definitely a big roadblock for me as a kid. With him defeated though, the ocean slides back into place, and we can begin World 4. Although that will be it for this video. This is a video essay I'm going to be splitting into a part 2, and honestly, the only reason is because, I'm actually going on a big trip in, like, less than a few days as of the time this video is going up. I sort of just want to get something out there to not have to worry about it as I'm on my trip, you know? I'll continue the second part when I get back, but yeah, that'll be it for now. Thank you again to my Patreon supporters, Royal Blot, Sean, Trevor, Great Wolf, Fire Striker, Isaac 3000, and Jacob Lawson, and I will see you all later. Thanks for watching.